Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Council's October regularly scheduled Council meeting. I'll ask that you please stand, have a moment of silence to remember our troops that are currently serving in harm's way and those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you. Please join us in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. I'll ask that the acting clerk please read the sunshine notice.
This meeting is held pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act. Adequate notice of this meeting was advertised in January 11, 2015 edition of the Trend and was provided to the Star Ledger, Daily Record, and North Jersey Herald News on January 11, 2015. Adequate notice of this meeting was also posted on the municipal bulletin board, filed with the acting borough clerk, and provides those persons or entities requesting notification.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Here.
Councilman O'Doherty? Absent. Councilman Barish?
Here.
Councilman Cobell?
Here.
Councilwoman Senti?
Yes.
And Councilman Giantonio?
Here. Thank you. Next order of business is the Treasurer's Report. I'll ask that the clerk please read the Treasurer's Report into the record.
The Treasurer's Report indicated we started out with cash on hand as of August 30th, 2015 in the amount of $6,565,860.87. Receipts for the month of September total $683,208.31, with disbursements amounting to $3,933,557.59. New balance on hand September 30th, 2015 was $6,565,860.87.
Someone offer that, please.
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Yes.
Councilman Barish?
Yes.
Councilman Cobell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Senti?
Yes.
Councilman Giantonio?
Yes. Thank you. Next order of business is the Mayor's Report, and I am pleased to announce this evening that the Council will be considering under Resolution 101215 an authorization for me to sign a Memorandum of Understanding. We have been in discussions with the Pompton Plains Reformed Church for some time about seeing if they would be a willing seller to sell the 10 acres that's adjacent to the Kinnelon Recreation Park. We've been working closely with the DEP and the Highlands Council, and the memorandum of understanding states that the church would be willing to sell the property to us for $875,000 plus taxes expended for real estate since property taxes since they took ownership of the property, which is less than $100,000. Good news is that this property is going to potentially be used for both active and passive recreation. We think that we may have an opportunity to develop a number of fields on the 10 acres in conjunction with a community center that will serve not only our seniors but also our rec programs as well. And I see the press just walked in, and I'm not going to repeat that. And it was exciting news, so you'll have to listen to the tape, Deb. I just, want to comment on the effort here, and I know that Councilman Barish and Councilwoman Senti attended a couple of meetings with me and the DEP, and I just know that all too often, because we are in the Highlands Preservation Area, that it's difficult to develop property here, and sometimes the DEP is seen as the ogre in the equation of getting things done. I will tell you, in this instance regarding this 10 acres, they could not have been more supportive of Kinnelon and more understanding of our challenges regarding our recreation program, but also for our needs to have a community center that could serve as a sheltering location in case we have another major storm. Additionally, the executive director from the Highlands Council was extremely helpful at this particular point in time, and as a joint applicant with the Reformed Church, the project looks like it's going to have a great deal and likelihood of success. So good news is that the disturbance and impervious area will actually be less for what we've proposed in concept, but we will join the public in conversation about this as the project moves forward. But excited to say this evening that after a long process, the Pumpton Reformed Church has been interested in selling us a piece of property that I think will be a valuable asset to the borough. So once again, I think that as we continue our efforts to improve our infrastructure, this will go along to make that way to make that happen. Now moving on to something that's a little less positive. We received on September 18th a letter from the Department of Agriculture indicating that 1,676 acres in a 5-block area as designated by the Department of Agriculture has been designated to have a high concentration of gypsy moth and is qualifying for gypsy moth aerial suppression program. So we'll be working with our DEP personnel, but at this particular point in time, as the public has reported in the past, gypsy moths were problematic for us last year, and we're concerned about defoliation of our trees related to their activity. So good news is that we're eligible for support from the Department of Agriculture regarding spraying. The bad news is that we have a problem that we need to address.
Are they going to let us know what they're spraying?
Yeah, the maps that were provided, we'll get this actually up on our website, Jim, indicate 5 areas that they evaluated, and when spraying is, of course, going to take place, we'll inform the public well in advance.
I mean, more or less chemicals as well. We'll know what kind of chemicals they're putting in the air.
We'll know what kind of chemicals, and I know that last time we did a spraying, I think my kids were small, real concerned. They were waiting by the bus stop as some of the spraying was taking place, and I think it's important that if spraying is going to be taking place in the early morning hours, that we keep the public apprised of what ultimately is going to be used in that effort. So we'll keep you apprised. It is a spring effort on gypsy moths, but at this particular point in time, I just wanted to report back to the public that we are eligible for support from the state in that effort. Last night, the certified valuations met with the public at the Smoke Rise Club. We had some light attendance, but I think that the presentation was similar to those other 2 presentations that we had done. Thought the public was very insightful in asking some questions about ultimately what the reval process is and what the appeal process is as well. But I found that the meeting in general was very positive. So as promised, we reached out to the public and let them know that we had 3 separate meetings. It's anticipated that the data collection will take place and be completed by the end of December, early January. And with the new tax rates coming into place, this will affect the 2016-17 tax bill for next year. So once again, the process objective is to really allow for a equalization and a leveling of the assessment throughout the borough, and I think that our professionals ultimately are in that phase of collecting some data. Wanted to mention this evening that we are moving forward with the sale of excess sewer capacity to Riverdale. We're working closely with the attorney from Bloomingdale to ensure that that deal is completed by the end of the year. So once again, we are selling approximately 45,500 gallons at $23 a gallon. So those dollars have already been incorporated into this year's budget, and I think that once again we're going to be adopting some additional resolutions to facilitate that sale. But at this particular point in time, the sale of that excess sewer capacity from Bloomingdale and Kinnelon to Riverdale is moving forward. Wanted to report this evening that our planner, Joe Burgess Associates, has been working on an affordable housing plan for the borough. That plan will be ultimately presented to the public for a public hearing at the beginning of December. It will incorporate and speak of our obligation to develop additional affordable housing in Kinnelon. But at this particular point in time, our attorney has been working with our professionals really to once again present to the court some allowance for us to develop a plan, and now we're at a particular point in time where we're coming up on a time frame to do that. I wanted to reiterate what I said at last week's council meeting, that I cannot thank Councilman Barish enough. We had Hurricane Joaquin that was a threatening storm, and we did a great job, I think, of preparing OEM and our professional police and fire departments in that effort. We also talked to the security over at Smoke Rise and also Butler Electric. So we had begun mobilization of our first responders, and thankfully we didn't need them. But having the process in place, I think, is telling of the fact that we were proactive on that front. One other thing we did discuss at our council meeting, a request that came from the public regarding enacting an ordinance regarding the Pilgrim Pipeline. The council talked at length about the merits of doing so, and we felt at this particular point in time our opposition to the pipeline has already been memorialized by resolution, and we are going to monitor the situation closely. We know that both houses of the state have ultimately supported opposition to the plan as well. But at this particular point in time, we felt that an ordinance, given some of the legal ramifications, really would not do much more than we had already done with our resolution. So I want to be clear with the public. We were unanimous in opposing the pipeline because we felt it was inconsistent with the Highlands Act. I don't know how you, in fact, tell me towns and municipalities that your water supply is so important to the state, and then ultimately put in place something that is really counter to that. So once again, we're going to continue to monitor the situation. We appreciate the ask here, but at this particular point in time, we've decided that the resolution stands on its own merits. That's the end of my reports, and now we'll move on to council committee reports. We'll start with Recreation. Councilman Frieda.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a Kinnelon High School senior. Her name was Suzanne Vornbrock. She came in. She's in the final stages of her Gold Award project for the Girl Scouts, and she did a program to enhance tennis in Kinnelon. So what she did was she offered a free program for the young kids in town, and then she also accepted used equipment and any type of tennis stuff, from skirts to shorts to tennis balls, and she collected all that, and she also donated that. So if there's anybody that wants to get involved with tennis, we have all of the equipment and stuff, and also have a great young lady that can give you some free lessons. So I wish her luck on her Gold Award. We're looking at, as I spoke about in the past, we're looking about redoing the tennis courts, so we're trying to figure out a game plan for the tennis courts at Boonton Ave. As you know, they're shifting. They do have different types of resurfacing, everything from obviously concreting it to they have these interlocking grates now and stuff like that. So while Melanie's at the League of Municipalities, she's going to be doing some research and looking for some options for that tennis court. I brought something up to Melanie the other day, and I just wanted her to just do some research, because I've heard it from a bunch of people, but I wanted her to start looking in the possibility of a location or even a thought to start brewing of a dog park in Kinnelon. So she's just going to do some research for now. It's not approved or even talked about with the council. I just wanted her to kind of get the ball rolling, and then we'll bring it back to the full council, and we can discuss it, and hopefully there's room over at the DPW where we can fit the dogs over there. So I think it'd be a great thing for people in the community, not just for the dogs, but also for anyone who has a dog. It's a great tool to get along with your neighbors and talk and have a great time. So Fall sports are in full swing. Registration's open for winter sports right now, which is basketball, wrestling, and also boys lacrosse will be opened up soon as well. Field renovations behind Town Hall, Muni Field, doing great. The grass, as they would say, is keeping. It's now rooted. Used to be able to go down there and lift up the sod. Now it's completely rooted, so you're no longer allowed. You can no longer lift the sod, which means it's growing, and it looks great. So I'm very excited about that. We've added a volleyball program to the spring of 2016. The high school coach, Stephanie Fink, said she's willing and committed to running it. So she's going to be helping us 2 evenings a week for 6 weeks to try to get the girls volleyball program going, which is doing very well at the high school. Softball program, we're still struggling with some numbers, so we're trying to be ahead of the curve here for the spring. We've been contacted by Denville, Boonton Township, and some of the surrounding towns, so we're looking to merge our girls softball programs with them and hopefully keep it going strong, because as you know, we have a great girls softball program in town. Melanie reached out to Mayor Collins today. She talked to him a little bit about the mayor's wellness campaign. I know they're going to have a meeting next week, and hopefully the mayor's on board for a mayor's wellness campaign, and you know, I promise I will walk with him if he walks with us. So
You're
I have my word on that. No, we're not running. No. Dogs run, and the dogs run here.
Jim, you're fast.
Yeah. As far as Kinnelon's concerned, we had that meeting today. A lot of great things going on. We're going to be doing the every 15 minutes program, where the high school gets involved with the Home School Association, and the kids put on a real-life disaster from a drunk driver or a drug-induced driver or anything like that. So it's acted out by the students. It's taken very seriously. It's videotaped and it's shown. I mean, we did it a couple of years ago, and I still think about that video. I had a friend of mine whose daughter didn't, but in this video passed away, and just watching her parents react to that, you know, even them knowing it was fake, it just broke their hearts. And I mean, the hospital was involved, the Triborough ambulance was involved, the fire department, the mayor. I mean, everybody in town was involved, and it turned out to be a great program. So Camelot's going to be a co-sponsor again this year for May 2016. The safety bug is coming to town. That's basically a car that simulates drunk driving. So it's going to be sent over to the high school for licensed drivers, and it's going to be the Kinnelon Police will assist in educating children about drunk driving and let them drive the safety bug, which will understand what it's to be like to be an impaired driver. On October 26th, Camelot's proud to present, his name is retired police officer Joe Abruski. He does an amazing job. It's called the 411 on Drugs. This program, he's been with 30 years of law enforcement. He turns his program into educating parents. He talks about current trends, dangers, myths, indicators associated with being under the influence, what to look for if your children's on drugs or drinking, popular drugs that are happening right now, paraphernalia that they're using to conceal it, synthetic drugs, you know, prescription drugs. I went to this when he did it, I think it was 2 years ago, and it was amazing. I mean, he talked about if you see a child wearing this type of shirt, it's got a hidden pocket inside, and that's where he's keeping drugs. And he said, if you look at a child and you know, kiss them goodnight every night, while you're kissing them goodnight, smell their breath. You know, simple things like that, but it's an amazing educational thing for parents, and I can do nothing but highly recommend it. And we had almost 75 parents at it last time we did it, and all 75 were blown away by it. So hopefully, if you have little guys, you still want to see this. And it's on October 26th from 7 to 8 p.m., Kinnelon High School. And we're willing to give a free piece of pizza to a Kinnelon High School students if their parents attend the next day for lunch. So,
Jim, that's already up on the website. It's on Facebook.
Oh, it is? Okay, I was going to ask you that.
It's on the calendar.
Okay, so we're all set. It's an awesome program, and please, if you attend one program a year, this is the one to go to. So that's the end of my report, man.
Thank you, Jim.
Oh, and I'm all very excited about the piece of property next to Carafe. I think it's going to be I hope we can, like you said, get the community center there, a field. I would love to see like a small outdoor amphitheater type thing where we could do like little concerts in the park and stuff like that, and lights. All right, thank you, Mayor.
Duly noted, James. How's that? I know that Councilman O'Doherty was not able to be with us tonight, but just before, I know somebody has a report for him. I just want to mention that we are going to, in fact, take action on awarding our garbage and recycling agreement for a period of 1 year. In analyzing the only bid that we had, we felt that this, in fact, was a prudent way to approach our collection and recycling efforts. We're going to hopefully, get a little bit more activity on interested parties next year. Kinnelon's a little hilly, and I think that presents some challenges for some sanitation companies. We happen to like it, but sometimes people getting around town that are not familiar with the roads here presents a challenge. But once again, I know that we discussed this at work session, so that is under the consent agenda, and Steve has indicated that he has the balance of Dan's report.
Yeah, I attended the DPW meeting last week with Dan, and he gave me his notes to read in his absence. We have ordered 200 tons of salt and removed all the storage equipment from the salt shed. We will then have enough salt on hand for 4 average storms. And I, Dan O'Doherty, not me, am predicting only 1 before the new year. DPW crews are working on preparing the equipment for winter and continuing with our field maintenance. Today, they put asphalt in the police impound storage garage. The construction meeting took place today at 11 a.m. KASV, the contractors, John Whitehead, Brian Kimball, his foreman, IBN Construction, and Dan were present. The doors are being due to be delivered tomorrow. Windows in the new building, the new DPW building, are to be installed on the 23rd and 24th, which is next Thursday and Friday. HVAC and heat's to be installed next week. Electric roughing and new service is complete. Floor drains for the new garage are to be installed on the 20th. Ballads are going to be yellow. I'm not sure.
Ballards.
Ballads?
Those ballards are the posts outside the...
Okay. I'm not a construction guy, so I'm ballard. Okay. The existing building concrete to be poured on Monday, the 19th. The existing building takeover date is scheduled for November 15th. The new building, new section of the building takeover date is scheduled for December 1st. And that is Mr. O'Doherty's report.
Thank you, Steve. I know Dan's not here tonight, and maybe a result of the fact that our National Weather organization has indicated that this is going to be a rough winter for us. The only area that of the country that is projected to not have significant snowfalls at this particular point in time is the Ohio Basin area. So because of El Nino activity, I guess that's the way it's being characterized, we're going to have some snow. So, welcome to the Northeast. Thank you again, Steve, for reporting on Dan's items this evening. We'll now move on to public safety and technology. Councilman Parrish.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quick note, KPD was just notified today that we will have a retirement in February of 2016. So we'll have to get the committee together to discuss and make recommendations to the government body as far as how quickly we move on that subject. The fire department would like action soon on the Houston-Galveston co-op. I know we're still waiting on the QPA from Pequannock, so we'll look for that next month, and maybe we can put that together with whatever the specs and the discussion is at the next workshop.
Just moving forward with that.
Yeah, well, this apparently, Mark, you would recommend the QPA take a look at it. You were good with it.
I think we're obligated to, but I'm fine with the Houston-Galveston co-op. The research I've done, I'm very comfortable with. But I do think we're obligated to give the QPA the pass over.
Yeah, so I assume that, you know, at this point that that can go concurrent with whatever proposal they're going to make on the apparatus. From the fire company, they said mostly CO calls lately. As a matter of fact, I think the last 6 have been carbon monoxide calls. Just a public notice to everybody to please make sure you're changing your batteries in your carbon monoxide detectors. Make sure they're in your living area. A lot of people make the mistake and they put it by their furnace. The furnace is not a living object, so it doesn't need the protection. It's the living areas that need the detectors. Make sure they're operational. Also, a lot of the cases so far have been because people are turning the furnaces on with the weather getting cold. So make sure your furnaces are cleaned and serviced properly. And as always, members are desperately needed. Call today. You know, there's 2 of us out on it, and especially daytime. We need help. Nothing from Triborough. Technology, there's been slow and painful progress on the phones. I've had some conversations with our vendors, and they were supposed to be on a call together with Verizon today. I have nothing to report, really, as that result. I know we still have some issues with rollover calls the public may be getting, where it rings constantly. That's a matter of the first few lines coming in will go directly into our phone system, and at a certain point they ring infinitely. If they do get that until this gets fixed, which I am praying and it is in the next week or so, then just hang up and dial again. It should come in pretty quickly. The new mail server is up for the borough. Email addresses are in the process of being assigned to board and committee members. Carol on the tech committee had suggested, I think it was a good idea, that we brief people that will be using these, that any emails transmitted are operable and what that means. So we'll have a little guideline for them as far as that goes. Police, the email server was implemented, I believe, yesterday. So they're up and running as of today. The website, which I've been checking regularly, we're being moved to a new platform. That was part of the original deal, is that we get whatever the latest program is that they have. I am aware that there are some pages that are returning errors. For instance, the job page recently was giving an error. They said just be patient. Within a week, we'll be on the new platform and it'll all be working. So I'm keeping an eye on that. Also of note on the website is that audio is now available for all of this year's council meetings and workshops, except for last week, which I haven't gotten to do yet. I've been turning those MP3s into YouTube available MP4s. So the links from our website link actually to the Kinnelon Borough YouTube page or channel, and all those meetings are available. I'll get last Thursday's up as soon as possible, and tonight, so I'll get next week. But I'm trying to get to those within a week. So while the minutes aren't always available because of lack of personnel availability to type those up and get them out there, people can certainly listen to the meetings. Lastly, regarding the website and the service request form, I'd asked Jen Hires, she's the DPW secretary, who is pretty much monitoring all these service requests, just how is that going and what's the read. So she sent me a memo today saying that the service request forms on the website have been working out great. Residents are filling them out for bulk pickup, recycling, dead trees, potholes, water utility issues, marriage license questions, overgrown trees, berms, public assistance, posting of signs on the rec fields. In July there was 3 service requests, in August there was 8, September was 6, and there have been 3 so far in October. So she's on top of that, and I even believe one of them had come through and mentioned the mayor, which was passed along, and he was able to resolve something pretty quickly. So that is the end of the report. Thank you.
Just under public safety, I want to mention to the public that Halloween is 2 weeks away. So we want to make sure that we're going to put some notice out on driving and being careful, as little ones tend to go out and have a good time on that holiday. So we'll be putting something out on both Facebook and also the web page, just reminding people just be a little bit more careful at that time in the month. Now moving on to Finance, Councilman Coppell.
Thank you. I spoke with Phoenix Consulting today. That's the consulting firm that we've engaged to do a review of our business and tax office. Due to recent resignations, there are some openings in those departments, and we need some support while in those departments while we're waiting, while we're looking to hire somebody. And Phoenix is going to give us recommendations as far as filling those and supporting our current employees, keep those departments where they should be. Let's see. The Finance Committee interviewed 2 candidates for tax collector, and as a result of those interviews, the committee is recommending that we go forward with the next step in interviewing them and vetting them. They're both candidates. I think we should go forward looking at both of them. I don't know if there's further discussion on that tonight at some point, but that's the committee's recommendation. Let's see. The department heads, if the treasurer has not yet given them a date, I'm going to ask that that their budget request be submitted by around the end of October, beginning of November, so we can go to work on the 2016 budget. I'm also going to speak with Phoenix Consulting to see if they have any ideas that we haven't thought about as far as giving our department heads worksheets or other help to prepare their budgets. So I'd like to get that process started as soon as possible.
Steve, I already informed the department heads, just November 1st.
November 1st, yeah, the end of the month.
Yes.
That's fine. That's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And we have a new tax collector, and met her, and that department, with new temporary tax collector, and so that department is being covered and well-run at this point. I think until we meet with Phoenix, that'll be some more news from the Finance Committee, but right now, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Steve. Now moving on to coordinating and open space, Councilwoman Sventi.
Thank you, Mayor. The Board of Education, the Borough and Board of Education Coordinating Committees met together at a joint coordinating committee meeting on 10/5. The quick report on that is that New Jersey DEP is still requiring perk tests to be done on the high school football field, and we're waiting to hear how many perk pits and where those perk pits will be located. The Board of Ed is requesting that the Borough pay a $6,000 overage on the $30,000 that was approved last October through resolution. And also, they are looking for an additional $7,000 to pay for the perk tests for a grand total of $13,000. The timeline would be, the resolution on the agenda for tonight would be for an additional up to but not to exceed $15,000 for perk tests, and Mazer Engineering is waiting to get comments from New Jersey DEP because depending on the number of perk pits that need to be done on the high school football field, if it's only one perk pit, then it may not be as much as $7,000. It may be a lesser cost. Also, the perk tests would be performed on the after the football and soccer season is over, say middle to late November. The Board of Health, they met, but they didn't have a quorum, but they did have a meeting just to discuss items that could be on their next agenda. They wanted to remind residents that this year the Health Department will no longer be hosting community-wide vaccination clinics. However, we strongly recommend that you receive the flu vaccine. Currently, all health insurance carriers will now be fully covering preventative services such as influenza vaccinations. They also said that there was going to be a free rabies clinic for dogs, and in Kinnelon, it looks like that is going to be on Saturday, January 9th from 1 to 3 p.m. over at the DPW garage.
What's the date on that again, please?
That is January 9th, Saturday, from 1 to 3 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
The Historical Commission, they had their Pathways of History tour this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and it was another resounding success with 58 people from the public attending. Other museums reported that their attendance was lower than in years past, but not our museum. Upcoming events for LaCole and the Commission. This weekend, LaCole and the Historic Commission will be having a reception for the Kinnelon High School class of 1965. They're having their reunion this weekend. So their reception at LaCole will be from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. They have put together a collection of memorabilia to share with the alumni and are looking forward to a fun and rewarding afternoon with the class of 1965. They will also be holding another reception the first weekend in November to showcase the Gold Award work of Girl Scout Browen Olston. Brown met with Chief Schwartz and received several boxes of photos, which he has put together on a DVD for presentation at this reception. The Commissioners will extend invitations to Chief Schwartz and the Kinnelon Police Department, as well as to the Mayor and Council and to the general public. On Thursday, November 12th, the Commission is in collaboration with the Library's Center for Lifelong Learning, will be presenting a program on Dr. Helen Miller as part of the CLL course that's being offered this semester, Women Who Make America. Over 70 people have signed up for this course. The Commission will also be sharing their facility with the Friends of the Library in the months ahead so that their volunteers can collate various mailings that go out to the general public. And finally, Chairperson Tom Klein and Commissioner Bob Roy attended a workshop hosted by the Morris County Heritage Commission. Items discussed were mini grants that are available that could help in preserving and displaying LaCole's historical photos, publishing a booklet about Dr. Helen Miller, which would also assist in their application for placing LaCole on the National Historic Register. LaCole was placed on the New Jersey State Historic Register in 2014. Historical programs and speakers are another option that could present programs for the LaCole to present to the public. And the Open Space Committee did not meet this month, and that is the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Carol. Now moving on to Personnel and Ordinance, Councilman Giantonio.
Thank you, Mayor. First, regarding personnel. It's been agreed between the governing board and the union that the memorandum of agreement that came out of the negotiations needs to be looked at again. So we're in the process of that. The Personnel Committee has been communicating over the past week or so after our work session last week that we're going to do a salary study of all the positions in Town Hall, both union and non-union positions. We started that with a listing of average salaries from the League of Municipalities, and we're going to compare that to our current salaries in town to make sure that we're keeping level with the market, particularly municipalities in the area with similar numbers of residents, because you can't compare us to like a Newark or Patterson where they've got far more people. They may pay people more for certain positions. So we're going to try and do a comprehensive study of the salaries for the positions in town and hopefully incorporate that into our negotiations with the union. We're going to study both union and non-union positions, but if need be, we're going to focus more on the union positions as opposed to non-union, but I think they can all be done at the same time, so hopefully we'll have answers for all of that. Regarding our best practices findings, I've been in communication with our labor attorney to find out what percentage we are paying on our workers' compensation claims. He has to research that and let us know whether we can change our answer for that question on the best practices list. I have, in conjunction with this revamping the memorandum of agreement and the salary study, I'm picking up again coming up with job descriptions for all the positions of people who work here in town, particularly since we're going to be having a number of new hires coming up over the next several months. I think it would be very beneficial if everybody has job descriptions of what they're required or not required to do. Along those lines, we're in the process of hiring assistants for both the clerk's office and the finance office. Again, we've lost people who are in those positions over the last several months, and we're looking to fill them. Advertisements have gone out. We're getting resumes in, so hopefully we can fill those positions fairly quickly. That's it for personnel. As far as ordinance goes, the mayor, you already addressed the Pilgrim issue, and the tree ordinance is on the agenda for tonight, and that is my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Cliff. We'll now move to hearing from the public. Does anyone from the public wish to be heard this evening? If so, please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Carrie Spitz. I live in Sulaco, and I'm member of the Coalition Against Pilgrim Pipeline. And as we mentioned last month, we're looking to do everything we can to stop this from going through our backyards. It is a risk to our public health, safety, and property values. It also poses a threat to the private wells that most of Kinnelon uses to get their drinking water. Passing a resolution stating that Kinnelon doesn't want it here is a great first step, but without passing an ordinance, Kinnelon's doing nothing to stop it from coming through town, and that's a fact. When I came last month, 5 towns had already passed ordinances. Now it's 7, and many others have already introduced their ordinances, and will be passing them at their next meeting. By passing an ordinance, Kinnelon would not be standing alone. Most of these towns plan on coming together to fight this and sharing the costs of that, so you would not be standing alone in that way. So I just urge you to reconsider and try and protect the residents of Kinnelon by passing this ordinance. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question before you leave? We discussed last week the enforceability issue, and I guess the New Jersey League of Municipalities has said this is new chartered legal grounds, and ultimately there was a question whether through land use ultimately a municipality could in fact regulate this type of utility. And I think that was part of our conversation, and I wanted to ask if you could comment on the enforceability of an ordinance that would ultimately address the proposed pipeline.
Sure. I actually have a paperwork here because we had similar questions from Oakland. So we drafted this along with some of our legal counsel. I can leave this with you that addresses that exact issue.
Okay.
Because it kind of skirts around, basically, there are no bodies that will cover the unregulated pipelines. So the towns are left wide open to say, well, we don't want them that are unregulated because there's nobody overseeing that.
Didn't the state, though, put forth legislation ultimately that would make pilgrims subject to the same public utility oversight that other utility companies are faced with right now? That was our understanding, that there is legislation pending to that end.
There's nothing passed at this point about that.
But is there something pending as far as...
Well, the only thing I know of is Monday, the state is looking to pass something that will give them free rein, basically, to cross the streams, rivers, and take away all the protection.
So you're saying the state is actually entertaining legislation that would go the other way?
That's
as
right.
opposed to regulating it, there's legislation being proposed that would allow...
Take it away, exactly.
Okay.
So I'll leave this with you, and you can take a look at this.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wish to be heard this evening?
That'd be great, thank you. Appreciate your help.
Good evening. Jason Dialessi, 54 South Bend. I was just wondering about what the reason is that the Board of Health is not offering flu vaccinations this year.
I think it was cost prohibitive. I wasn't at their meeting. I was at another appointment. I think it was,
Didn't I hear that Pete Coriel in Paquonic wanted to handle it down there and not here?
I believe so, that, and staffing and costs were going into that. And plus, it's also so much, it's available so many other places that we weren't getting as many people coming in here for the clinic as going to other locations and getting it, because it's available at every pharmacy, and et cetera.
Is there still an opportunity for residents to travel down to Paquonic, though, which I believe we have the shared service agreement with them, that they could get it from the public health nurse down there?
I don't know. I could certainly find out.
I think there are people who don't have health insurance in this town. I think a lot of us think that everyone does have health insurance and can just go down to Rite Aid or go to Walmart and get it for $15, but the state of affairs is that there are people who have either lost their jobs or are not in the economic situation that they can afford they don't have health insurance and they can't afford to pay out of pocket to get it from somewhere. So if we can offer the opportunity to receive it for, I believe it's been $15 in the past, through the Board of Health, either if they have to, at the very least, if they have to travel down to the Quonic, that would be an opportunity. I'm concerned that we're not offering it in our town, because it is an excellent prevention tool, but that's only a few things that we do offer citizens in Kinnelon, is the annual annual flu vaccine. So I just hope that there's some way that we can continue to offer it. Yep. Thank you.
I'll find out and get back to you.
Thank you.
Mary Ann DLSE, Jason's mom. Just to clarify, I am a nurse. Vaccines are not given in every pharmacy.
Okay.
So the closest pharmacy that administers vaccines here, there has to be a nurse practitioner on the premises, is CVS in Pompton Lakes and CVS in Pompton Plains, but down further, like closer to Lincoln Park. So for those of our citizens that can't travel, we really don't have, Rite Aid over here does not give them. That is the criteria.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, you have to be 18 or above. And a parent can't sign for a child to get it. I just went through this when he was going to school last year, so I do know the regs from trying to get him a vaccine for college prior to going. So I don't know how many citizens we have, but it is a concern that...
Meaning they won't do it at the pharmacy
Rite Aid doesn't...
for 18-year-olds?
No, they won't, even with a parent signing.
Okay.
Vaccines are only 18 and above in this...
But that's at the pharmacy?
Only specified pharmacies where there's a nurse practitioner.
Right, okay.
And in this location, like you were saying, Carolyn, I just wanted you to be clear that Rite Aid does not give them.
Okay.
I know that it's the two CVS's, and they are not real close. So I want you to know clearly that we really, for our citizens that are homebound, a public health nurse should be going in and giving it to them. Because they can't even get to their physicians. And the big concern is that if it's not readily available, who is going to make an appointment to go to their physician? And there may be some people that won't.
And that puts them at risk. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard this evening? If not, I'll close the meeting to the public. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. This is items A through X.
Mayor, I would like to respectfully ask that we separate Resolution J, which is 10.10.15, which would be authorizing the reimbursement of an additional amount of up to $15,000 to the Board of Ed for the turf field. I'd like to open that up for discussion on to the council.
Okay, we'll handle that separately after we handle the other items A through X, with the exception of J, which will be handled as a separate item. Any comments, questions about anything that's on section A through X?
Question?
Sure.
On 10-15-15, were there any changes made to the questionnaire after our conversations last week? Because
there were no changes made at this particular point in time. I think we're waiting to hear back from either you regarding conversation with Lou May on a point, and or I know that Cliff had reported on the workman's comp.
Can we change that at some point, even if we approve it tonight?
We can.
it's got to be filed, I think, tomorrow, right?
It's got to be filed tomorrow. So,
and I was curious if you had a chance to call the state on those three where we could potentially answer NA because we did not have a CFO?
I put forth a call to the state, and unfortunately, I didn't get the answer.
They don't call you?
No.
Gee, go figure. I guess they're running for president.
They're doing something down there.
If you want me to follow up,
let's do this. Okay. Let's approve it with the contingency that, in fact, if information comes forth before the governing body, before the end of the close of business, we'll adjust accordingly. Okay?
Okay.
So we have...
I did speak to Phoenix, and they have differing opinion than we did on...
And I spoke to Phoenix about those points, too. But,
they convinced me. I guess they didn't convince you. And I don't have to sign it. I understand.
I have to sign it.
Right.
But let's do this, okay? I think that we want to have an approval tonight with the contingency that, in fact, if information comes before us tomorrow, that we can adjust the answers accordingly with informing the governing body.
And I assume it's filed electronically?
Electronically.
And so it's a matter of 4:59 and 42nd, you press the button and we're filed, we meet the requirement, right?
3:59.
3:50, oh, they don't work till 5?
Not on Fridays.
Okay, I'm in the private sector, I'm not used to municipal work.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Your second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Yes.
Councilman Barris?
Yes.
Councilman Cabell?
Yes.
Councilman Spenci?
Yes.
And Councilman Giantonio.
Yes.
Thank you. Item J, Resolution 101015, authorizing reimbursement of additional amount up to $15,000 for the Board of Education's permit application on a turf field to be installed on the Board of Education property. This came before us last week, and there was some discussion. I don't know if anything has happened between our meeting last week and this week, but Councilwoman Spenci has asked that we take this under separate consideration, so I will open it up for discussion and conversation at this point in time from the dais. Let's go.
Well, I asked for this to be separated out because I've heard from several residents after working at Kiel this week, and given an item that's on our agenda, another resignation of a borough employee, I have some concerns. I feel that the council should at least table this resolution until our November meeting, possibly our December meeting, until this is, I think this would be the prudent and wiser thing to do for several reasons. We have not heard from DEP as to how many perk pits we're going to have to dig. That could affect the cost, or where the perk pits are going to be. Also, I think we discussed at last week's workshop that we were going to hear from the Finance Committee as to how this would be funded, what line item it would be coming from, and if we indeed do have the funds available. Also at last week's workshop, both Councilman Cabell and Councilman Frida stated that they felt that if this project is truly a 50-50 venture, then the Board of Ed should also put some skin in the game. Also at that point...
Jim said that I wouldn't get in the game.
I didn't say that.
Well, put some money into the kitty then, I think it was.
I didn't say that either.
But also at the Joint Coordinating Committee, Denise Hatch, who chairs the Board of Ed's Coordinating Committee, stated, why would we spend another penny if we don't know what we're doing? So, to that end, and given the fact that we have lost several employees over the past 8 months, 9 months, that I think we need to get our funding in order before and take care of our employees and settle that situation. We're spending money on turf. With this additional $15,000, that would be a total of $45,000 that we will be spending on a turf project instead of on our employees. So, at the very least, I think it should be tabled. We should discuss it further and figure out where the money is going to be coming from.
Anyone else wish to comment on Resolution 1010?
I'm sorry.
Just want a clarification that the 15 grand includes 6,000 that they overspent already.
That they overspent already on the previous 30,000 we agreed to last October.
Okay, so this was the additional 7 that they potentially needed for the test pits plus a buffer, if you will?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have a big objection of tabling it, because, as Carol pointed out, we don't know what the DEP is going to come back with yet, but I don't see a problem, and I'm not pushing hard for it, but I don't see a problem with the resolution, because the resolution doesn't obligate us to spend the funds until we're happy that it makes them available, but doesn't mean we're going to spend the funds or cut a check to the Board of Ed until we're satisfied that it's the appropriate thing to do. Table it, okay, but just understand that even if we were to pass it tonight, it does not obligate us to spend the money.
But it also offers a perception to the public that we're taking care of spending money on a turf field instead of taking care of our employees and other things that may be more important to all the residents of this town.
Well, I think you arguably yes, and there's also a lot of people that feel that that's an important enough project that they feel that people feel that the $15,000 is, they would not want to see a project of that magnitude and that important to their children and their sports teams, that they wouldn't want to see $15,000 stop it. So I think...
Well, then maybe the Board of Ed should also kick in some money to it.
And I think I mentioned that last month, that I think that maybe we can negotiate somewhere in the middle on that 15. But here again, passing the resolution not to exceed 15 doesn't obligate us to spend it, and it may even allow us to negotiate it, because if we don't even have it approved, the potential to spend it, then we really can't negotiate it, because the money isn't really there. So, just,
Steve, where do you see the source of funds coming from? Is that a rec thing, or is it,
Probably a rec thing, but, we've got so much breakage in the budget now because of resignations.
you can move it from
and whatnot.
personnel to...
Yeah, in November, we can make transfers.
Okay.
Well, but I just want to clarify something for the council this evening. This resolution speaks to funds coming from Recreation Field Ordinance 1-13. And so it's not talking about taking money out of other
All right, I didn't see the
budgets.
reference.
So if we're going to move forward on this evening, it can be, I think, amended to state that monies from Ordinance 1-13 or other sources as available, if the council so desires, because I'm not really sure if, in fact, there's money left in Ordinance 1-13. So just wanted
And I did meet with the treasurer, but she didn't have the answer right off the bat. She's working, like 2 people right now, so.
Well, we've heard some discussion. I don't know if there's any other comments. If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the resolution with the amendment that it may be stated as other monies may be identified within the other sources identified in the 2015 budget. Someone offer that, please?
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Yes.
Councilman Barish?
With the understanding that we're moving this forward in an effort to get the solid bottom line number at the end, so that we can put this forth for a resolution, I'm a yes.
Councilman Cavell?
Well stated, Mr. Barish. Yes, very much in line with Mr. Barish's comment.
Councilwoman Swenson?
No, I believe it should be tabled until we have more information from DEP.
And Councilman Giantonio?
Yes. Resolution carries 5-1. I thank you.
4-1. 4-1.
Sorry, 4-1. I got Dan on the mind with bad weather this evening. I apologize. Resolution carries 4-1. Now moving on to new business. Is there any, old business? We have this evening in consideration for public hearing and adoption for Ordinance 8-15, which is to amend Chapter 186, tree removal. This ordinance was introduced at our meeting held on September 17, 2015. Proper notice was published as required by law. A copy was posted on the municipal building bulletin board, and additional copies were made available to the public. The meeting is now open to anyone who would like to speak to 8-15 from the public. Hearing none, I'll close to the public on Ordinance 8-15. I will now bring it back to the dais. Does anyone on the council wish to speak at this particular point in time to ordinance to amend Chapter 186, tree removal of the Code of the Borough of Kinnelon?
Just me briefly, if I may, Mayor. This ordinance, as we all know, is a long time coming, many, many years, and I hope it meets with the satisfaction of everybody here in town. I think it's right to pass something like this, and I think it'll be very helpful with the town's appearance and attraction. Thank you.
And I just want to thank the Ordinance Committee and also the Environmental Committee for putting an effort forth to bring this before us this evening. I'll ask for now, if there's no additional comments, for a motion to adopt Ordinance 8-15 by title.
So moved.
There's a second. I have a motion second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Yes.
Councilman Barish?
Yes.
Councilman Cavell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Swenson?
Yes.
Councilman Giantonio?
Yes.
Thank you. Next order of business is the second reading and public hearing for ordinance 9-15, an ordinance establishing salary ranges for the Borough of Kinnelon. This ordinance was introduced at our last month's meeting held on September 17, 2015. Proper notice was published as required by law. A copy was posted on the municipal building bulletin board, and additional copies were made available to the public. Does anyone from the public wish to speak to ordinance 9-15, an ordinance establishing salary ranges for the Borough of Kinnelon? If not, I'll close to the public and bring it back to the dais. And does anyone from the council wish to speak to the salary range ordinance as presented?
I just have a technical question, Mayor, on the Chief Financial Officer. I thought it was Certified Financial Officer. It's Chief Financial Officer, the CFO?
I think we use those terms interchangeably.
The CFO has to be a CMFO. She has to have that license.
Certified
Municipal Finance Officer. You have to have that license to be
the CFO?
the CFO of the borough.
Gotcha, okay. That's it.
I think that's right, right? Counselor? Certified Municipal Financial.
Any other comments about salary ranges as outlined? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Yes.
Councilman Barrett?
Yes.
Councilman Cabell?
Yes.
Councilman Spencer?
Yes.
Councilman D'Antonio?
Yes.
Next item for consideration this evening is public hearing adoption of ordinance 10-15, authorizing capital improvements for the boiler at LaColle Museum. This ordinance was introduced last month at our meeting held on September 17, 2015. Proper notice was published as required by law. A copy was posted on the municipal building bulletin board, and additional copies were made available to the public. Does anyone from the public wish to speak to ordinance 10-15? Hearing none, I'll close to the public. Now bring it back to the dais for consideration. Once again, this is for an amount of $15,000 for the installation of a boiler at the LaCrolle system, but as reported by our attorney at our last month's meeting, it can be for other
Installation, similar, hooking it up, all of those similar items.
It's just not for the boiler. Okay? Any comments or questions? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adopt.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Yes.
Councilman Barrett?
Yes.
Councilman Cabell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Spencer?
Yes.
Councilman D'Antonio?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. Does anyone from the council have any new business that needs to come before the mayor and council this evening? Go ahead.
Well, just that the recommendation of the Finance Committee to move forward on those, I assume the rest of the governing body is in agreement, disagreement, like to discuss it, would like to discuss on the tax collector situation. Would they like to set up interviews with the balance of the, how'd you like to go forward, gentlemen and ladies, is what I'm asking.
Well, I think we usually have the mayor meet them, and we go with your recommendation.
Well, two things. I think that the candidate is going to be vetted by our professionals of Phoenix Consulting, and Steve and I talked about that earlier this morning. I think the intent is really to identify someone that is going to hopefully be an asset and long-term benefit for the municipality. I will be meeting with the candidate, but I wanted to make sure that the governing body also has the opportunity for those individuals that have not met with the candidate that's being recommended that we be able to do that. I'm going to ask the clerk to do some initial background checking on the employee's credentials and salary history, and we should be able to take action, hopefully, if not the work session, shortly thereafter.
We'll set something up with Phoenix. Perhaps when we get their report, we can coordinate a meeting and then they can speak to these folks also.
Definitely.
Good plan. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else under new business? If not, a motion to approve, the tax collector's report and investment officer's report.
Tax collector's report during the month of September 2015, the tax collector's office processed a total of $423,567.58. Investments officer's report, a total of $670.50 was earned in the interest for the month of September 2015.
I'll ask the clerk to file the report as read, and if my memory serves me correct, I blew past approval of paying bills this evening.
Yes, you did.
So,
Nobody gets paid.
Wish I could do that.
Well, that could have been
Skip them for a moment.
so moving back to the payment of bills, this is the bills list dated October 15, 2015. Comments or questions on the list as presented? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the payment of bills.
Also make that motion.
Your second? Second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Yes.
Councilman Barron?
Yes.
Councilman Fidel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Spencer?
Yes.
Councilman Antonio?
Yeah.
Thank you. Next order of business is the approval of the payment of the district school tax, $2,959,450.83. If there are no comments, someone offer that, please.
So moved.
Your second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Yes.
Councilman Barron?
Yes.
Councilman Fidel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Spencer?
Yes.
And Councilman Antonio?
Yes.
Thank you. This morning, the clerk notified me that our court administrator had offered her resignation. Heather Prokop has found another opportunity. I took the opportunity to speak to our judge, and interestingly enough, he had indicated to me that unfortunately, court administrators are one of those municipal positions that move around quite a bit. Heather was incredible in her administration of her responsibilities, and having sat in a couple course sessions, I think that we realize how fortunate we are to have not only her, but the judge and Mary Ellen as well. But the process moves forward with the judge and the court administration system actually interviewing with us to identify a new administrator. So Judge Wibbenhorst is really on top of this and moving forward with those efforts to identify...
Who interviews her?
The judge and someone from the county court system.
Oh, okay.
And I will sit on those interviews as from a municipal perspective. This is exactly how we have done this in the past.
Okay.
That's the way.
But that job is not subject to the approval of the council. The judge and the county approve that person for us? We ultimately...
I think we ultimately approve because we're paying a salary.
Yeah,
The judge doesn't
that's
have
kind of
the-
what...
But it's the judge that ultimately makes the decision on selecting the candidate through the
Okay.
court system. And there's an interview process that goes that the court administration actually vets people for the system.
Right.
So they had a little bit of...
It's been a long time. It's been a while.
So, once again, I just want to take a moment to thank Heather for an exceptional job during her tenure with the borough. Very proud of the way that our court had functioned with her and Judge Wolvenhorst. Someone offer that resignation with regret.
I will. Deep regrets.
There's a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resignation is accepted. I don't know what to say about this next appointment.
It's short term, I'll tell you that.
Adam doesn't have anything to do.
I think in life there are people that have a lot of free time on their hands, and I think the borough is the benefactor of that, at least in this situation. Mr. Barish has offered to take on the chore of acting OEM coordinator. Office Emergency Management has become a little bit different than it was a number of years ago. It is intensive, and I think that the requirements for the borough are well beyond what they may have been 10 years ago. OEM is just such an important part of ultimately what we do in addressing public safety, and in all seriousness, I cannot thank Adam enough for taking on one more job.
Masochistic as I am.
And I want you to keep on responding to fire calls as well. But seriously, thank you so much for stepping up and taking on that role. I'd like to handle both these appointments together, if it's okay with the council. The second is Jen Hires as the OEM secretary. As you recall, we actually had 2 part-time secretaries working with Harry Hicks, and so now we're going to bring that activity back into the borough. I don't think there's any additional compensation involved here, unless there is additional compensation involved.
Yeah, the last secretary we paid per hour.
Okay, well, we should note that at least on Jennifer's appointment here. Adam, we're going to get a bargain. I don't think we've got a rate established for you other than free. So,
Maybe you'll buy me dinner, huh?
Maybe. Any conversation about these two appointments?
I just want to add that Jen will be attending meetings at the county as necessary at night or mornings, as the LEPC, the Local Emergency Planning Committee needs. So it's not always going to be within her usual, whatever it is, 36, 40 hours.
Someone offer those appointments, please.
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Frida?
Yes.
Councilman Barros?
Yes.
Councilman Cordell?
Do I have to say yes?
Only the right side.
Councilman Spen,
left
Councilwoman
side of the
Spencer? Yes. Councilman D'Antonio?
Yes. Thank you. 5-0 appointments.
Can we add a sunshine,
Congratulations. No, we cannot.
sunset provision to that?
We can ask legal counsel, but I think we've taken action on the matter.
I was going to ask if we could take the word acting away.
And
I make sure it was there.
acting is a little ambiguous. It could be acting for a number of years, so
I think there's a limit on that. 2 months, 3 months, something like that.
I want to thank the public for coming out this evening. We are really respectful of the former mayor's wish not to go into closed unless it's absolutely required. So this evening we have achieved the goal of not going into closed because we were able to address that work session. So,
Well, if you want us to, if you want us to,
There's nobody left to go in the closed door.
just want to remind the public that we do have an upcoming general election in about 20 some odd days. So please come out and vote. Your vote is important. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second that.
Do I hear a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I met her last night, but,